Hello, I'm the Showpal Guy, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Stories, to which I search the internet to tell the stories and experiences of players within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. This story, or stories, is about local tournaments, and how one experience could lead down a road where a player might not return. This happened to me a few weeks ago, and it's pretty bad. So every Thursday, I'll load up my bag and drive half an hour down the road to go to a card shop and have some fun at my locals. The store gives out store credit to winners, so you typically have a group of 3 or 4 people who are really sweating it out to get that credit. That means they're running Cosmo, Pepe, and BA to get that money. Note though, at the time of this story, BA, Pepe, these were the meta decks at the time. And for store credits, it is really important to note here that there is no actual money rewards upon winning tournaments. There is none. Go to YCS, go regional. You don't actually make money or win any prize money. You get stuff that has value, but you don't actually get any money or any monetary value off it though. And so for a local store to offer credit to winners, i.e. if I win this tournament, I get like 20 bucks, that means something. And so the rest of my locals, 5-ish other players, but up to 9 on a good day, play really casual things like Despots or Fluffles. I typically bring either Fable or Yang Zings. So anyways, I head up to the road and discover that I miscalculated and I'm about half an hour early. Now, as a preface, this locals is in the ghetto. Like, there's a Church's Chicken within walking distance. That's how far in the ghetto we are. Okay, nothing wrong with Church Chicken. As somebody who grew up in the ghetto, Church Chicken ain't that bad, okay? Their chicken sandwiches are really darn underrated. I'm just saying. As a white dude, I have very little options. Well, that explains it. So I just have to sit in the store and browse the merchandise. 6 p.m. draws near, and I don't see very many of the other regulars here. I don't see the Spellground mats and Ultra Pro double deck boxes that accompany the sweats, and I don't see Jeffrey and the plaid dress shirt he uses as a mat to play his Fluffles on. When 6 p.m. finally hits, I go to the counter and ask if they're taking registrations for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, only to find out there is no Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. Yep, and you know what's worse? The Yu-Gi-Oh! Night got turned into a Force of Will Night, which by the way is Magic Gathering. Besides the ghetto part of your story, I can relate. When I started to play at locals, we had a small group of people who would sweat it out for those Astro Packs. Me being new, just enjoyed the game and learning while these guys just stomped everyone until the finals when they had to play one another. Needless to say, playing them wasn't fun. This dragged on for months. Fewer people would show up on tournament day, making it impossible on some days to host events. New players would get discouraged because one guy was playing full power Necros to stomp everyone at a small 8-man locals for those packs. Finally, it died. I have no local tournament anymore, and the day was given to the Force of Will guys, who were playing at an awkward time on Monday afternoons. Good for them though, as they are actually a community that tries to teach new players. I am now one of those new players only to get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! At large regional events. See what happens? Note, don't give store credit to people as prize money. Don't do that. It makes the game more competitive than it should be, especially in a local setting. Already, there are people who go to locals with hyper competitive decks, and I understand when you're in tournaments, the expectation is for you to go win, but in a local setting, to which pretty much any deck can win, or that's how it's supposed to be when it pertains to locals, it's not meant to be that competitive. It's supposed to be kind of lighthearted fun while also being kind of competitive. I'm not saying that you should go out there and try to not win. Heck, you can go to Ice Barriers, or you can go play Fluffles, or you can go play BA now in 2022. And you want them to be kind of competent at the very least. Have them be competent enough to be somewhat competitively viable. But don't be that guy who goes into locals just stomping everyone. But if your locals is comprised of many players who are really good and who have really expensive decks, or who really want to go in and just maul people with their competitive decks, if that's the vibe that your local is going for, then I say go for it. you got to read the room with your locals, and someone going in with a hyper competitive deck and just stomping everyone for the sake of getting store credit could lead to negative things. But if you are in a locals that has like multiple people who are going for that, then I wouldn't say that's really a bad thing, because you got to read the room of your locals. What kind of tournament is it? Is it a super casual friendly locals tournament? Is it a super hyper competitive locals tournament? You gotta do the homework yourself and scout out what type of tournament, what type of locals your shop is running. Oh boy, this is a tough one here. We've got a guy that's played for a while, but started coming back to locals recently. I'm new to my locals, only like 5 to 6 months at this one, so he played before my time. Anyway, I've been playing against him usually around round 3 or 4. I've noticed he's been doing a lot of soft cheating. Forgetting to take LP damage, try to activate and set cards during the wrong chains like Twin Twisters, and he's already using like the wrong card effects essentially during the end phase, and occasionally hard cheating, i.e. drawing and waiting for about a minute to confirm if it's his turn and then drawing again. Yikes, that is terrible. I've discussed it with some of the other players of that locals, and they say, oh, yeah, that's just what he does. So I talked to the owner and he says, I'll keep an eye out. Just bring me over to watch next time you play him. Anyway, he also plays locals, I judge. So I've discussed it with the others. He's sort of an outsider, and we're a tight-knit group. So they're all watching, and I'll be having to keep a close eye on him, actually applying the punishments, which we've never had to do before. It just sucks, because the guy also claims that his deck is tier 1! So in most cases, I generally don't believe that players are actively like trying to cheat. In many cases, people just don't know what they're actually doing. They really don't. I've been to a locals where I've seen a player just like, they're cheating, but they're cheating because they don't know what they're doing, or they don't even realize they're cheating. I genuinely believe that very few Yu-Gi-Oh players out there maliciously cheat, as in like they're intentionally trying to cheat and they know they're cheating. I don't think that's the case. Usually players who are disconnected with what is a good deck or a bad deck, i.e. in this scenario here where you and your group claim that you know what a good strong competitive deck is, and if someone's saying that, hey, I'm bringing a tier 1 competitive deck, and you know that's not a tier 1 deck, chances are they're just disconnected with the game. They're disconnected to the game, and if they're disconnected to the game and what the current format is, or what the meta is, or they're like struggling in understanding, phases, or when is the right time to activate effect, or when is the wrong time to activate effect, chances are they're just not aware of themselves. In this scenario, I don't think he's cheating maliciously. It's more of a sense of he's cheating out of blissful ignorance. So I think that if there's a player out there who's playing wrong, you as a fellow player should go and tell him, hey, you know what, you're not supposed to do that, or you're activating this card wrong, or this deck really isn't tier 1, or if you need any help with your deck building, or if you need any help understanding the battle phase, because or the damage step, because even right now, players, despite, winning multiple tournaments, or have like over 10 years experience in playing Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of them don't know rulings, or don't know phases, or the damage step, or the battle phase, or heck, there are players out there who still activate their quick play spell card after setting it. And that is something you can't do, but players still do it anyways. It still happens. And that brings us to a close. If you have any stories you want to share, feel free to comment down. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe if you want to. You totally don't have to if you want to do so, but really cool if you did. And so until next time, see you guys later.